Hello viewers and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. And we're back at Tsukuba and we're in the M2s again. I know y'all are probably tired of that, but I promise you this will be the last video at this track for quite some time. Fortunately, things are not gonna go the way we would like. We lose quite a bit of IRating. Enjoy me getting obliterated by some people and a little bit of fun side-by-side action as well to mix things up. If you do like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna stop talking. Let's get right to the action, folks. Good morning, guys. Cheers. Happy Monday for me. I guess it's morning for me, but maybe you're watching this in another part of the world. But just getting a little bit of content before work. Got my morning black coffee. I don't know if you guys are from America. Buc-ee's. We love Buc-ee's. It is a crazy gas station. If you're not from America, it's a big gas station, and it's like a wild store that they have inside, and it's just a unique experience. But anyways, where my fiance and I are living, they're building a Buc-ee's literally like 2 miles down the road from where we live. So pretty cool. But yeah, Buc-ee's apparel, right there, a little coffee.
Waiting on the final car to grid.
All right. Got to put this down because we're about to race. Just had to get my rocket fuel in for the morning. Alrighty, guys, and we are off. So once again, we are back at Tsukuba in the BMW M2s. I know you guys are probably getting tired of this, but you know, we will get into other content eventually. I want to get my C license first, but anyways, qualified in P6, and we are right behind the top 5 here. We're going to take the inside into the first hairpin. We're side by side, but we're ideally not going to get enough speed coming out of that corner. So we're going to have the outside on this corner here, which is not ideal. We're not going to get a lot of speed coming out of it. So we're going to have to concede. Now, you can see our tires were cold and we were losing the rears a little bit, even just coming out of that slight left-hand turn. This car is a little wily and there's not a lot of aerodynamic drag, so you really got to rely on the mechanical grip in general and your driving skills for this car. In an odd way, sometimes I think that these slower cars with less aero are more of a challenge to drive than like the LMP2s or the GT3s, at least in my experience from other games. So we break down here, have a pretty good turn 1, got a little bit of a gap between P7, P8, Vanch, and Ramon. You know, and ultimately the goal here was I was getting a pretty consistent pace in the low 1 minute, 1 second, but I was getting in much more competitive lobbies at this point, and the goal was to be able to get under 1 minute, 1 second, because the aliens in these lobbies were getting basically 1 minute as their best lap time, and in some cases I even saw these guys posting under 1 minute, like 59.8, 59.7, which is absolutely absurd. So you know, these top 5 that I'm behind, I want to try to keep pace with them and learn what type of lines they're taking. So I completely missed my braking point and go way too wide, and as you can see, Vanch is right on our tail now. So we're going to have to start defending here, and it's ultimately going to slow us down if we can't build a gap. The top 5 are not getting too far away from us at this point, but you know, we want to be able to maintain that slipstream on the 2 main straightaways on this track. You know, not that it's going to be much, but hey, we'll take any little advantage that we can get, because as we all know, in racing, thousandths, hundredths, tenths matter. Vanch is right on our tail, so he's going to be able to get the slipstream on us. The top 5 are starting to pull away. They're getting the pace. We've got to figure it out. We've got to figure out what we're going to do. Pretty good corner coming into the final corner. It's really tricky there. You want to apply, just kind of blip the brake and give it a decent amount of pressure, but not too much to where you get the balance of the car on the fronts. So as you can see, we had a bad line through turn 1, but Vance was following our line, and he ultimately was battling Ramon. And then we move forward ahead. Ramon ends up passing Vance. So this is going to shake things up a little bit. Now, Ramon is right there behind us, and we're still maintaining relatively the same gap to the top 5, or I should say at this point, not the top 5, but P3, 4, and 5. And they're side by side coming into this hairpin, so that's going to present an opportunity potentially for us where they're going to be slowing each other down. But we have to defend coming into the last corner here. Ramon's going to be looking to make a move here on the inside, and we can't allow him to take that. So we're kind of close off the gap, and we're coming out a little bit to ensure we get decent speed, and I'm able to cut it back in before Ramon tries to get his nose side by side. He gives us a slight tap, but no harm, no foul there. Coming into turn 1, pretty good, but Ramon gets a really good exit. And now he's going to be able to put his nose side by side. He's going to take the outside. We're going to be forced to take a tight line, and we're ultimately not going to get a lot of speed coming out of this corner, so we're still side by side coming in through this Dunlop archway. And we are ultimately going to have to concede this position. He is going to have the better racing line, and now we have Vance here to our right that we have to worry about. Vance is going to opportunistically take the inside, get side by side, and we have dropped 2 places, unfortunately, just because of some silly errors on our part. You know, you live and you learn, and our best lap time was a 101.2, but we could do better. So this is, okay, Vance. This was 100% my bad, brother. I am so sorry. I do not mean to take you out and ruin your race. I take full responsibility for that. So, people in the comments, please do not give me too much crap for that. I felt really guilty, in all honesty. We move ahead, and this is classic karma. So this is the last lap of the race, and we're coming into the final hairpin, turn 8, and Cody, he completely misses his braking point and just annihilates us. And he takes a position. So we drop back. We were in P7 at this point, but then we dropped back to P8. And yeah, that's just karma. I fully believe that was just karma. I deserve that 100%. So, not going to get upset about it, not going to get flustered. Just move on. That was essentially a warm-up race, and we're going to refocus and see what we can do. This is a really competitive lobby. As you can see here on the screen, P1 posted basically 1 minute flat at Tsukuba in the BMW M2. That's actually insane. And I posted my best lap, too. So, moving on to the second race, and this was without a doubt, I think, the most competitive lobby overall, as far as the strength of field. Qualified in P7 here, and we are falling right behind. We're getting a little bit of bumping from the pack ahead of us, and we're just going to be cautious going into this first hairpin. Nothing crazy, just survive. Now, Ran here made an aggressive move on the inside, and that made us extremely nervous. But luckily, he falls back, and he gets a bad exit. So now we are right behind Francois, and we're just going to focus on warming up our tires. Now, you can see Ran back there. He lost the rears a little bit. So that's going to give us a little bit of a gap and a little bit of space, but we got to focus ahead here and try to maintain our gap so we can utilize the slipstream once again. But we're finishing the first lap, so we should have much warmer tires, and we should be able to push this car the way we want to. So once again, guys, the goal here for me with this morning session, P2 spins out actually, and we were able to avoid the collision, but someone in the back unfortunately was not paying attention and absolutely annihilated the other driver who had spun out. They're out of this race, or they're going to have to at least go to the pits, and you know, they're not going to be able to compete. All they can do is either finish the race or just retire. But to revert back to my original point, all we can really do is try to focus on getting a lap time that is below 1 minute, 1 second.
The guy, I think that was in P1 who had that crazy lap time.
The aliens, as I said, they were posting roughly a minute on their lap times. And some of the guys that were absolute freaks were getting 59.8, 59.7. So I wanted to figure out what can I do to improve upon that. And I think the main thing was my trail braking and the amount of initial brake pressure I was applying. I think 100% was just putting too much of the weight on the front tires, and I'm unable to turn my wheel ideally and get the car rotated. So going up to like 80% brake pressure on the initial braking, and then especially into turn 1, making sure we have a slow trail off the brake, get the car rotated, and then hit the late apex. The hairpins were tricky. Eventually I got the hang of the first hairpin, but when you have banking that you can utilize, the line is not as logical as you would think. So you would look at, if you could just look at a track layout, and I mean, for example, just look at the screen here, you would just think, okay, I'm going to go, for example, in the first hairpin all the way to the right, and then pitch it in, hit the middle of the apex, and then come out as wide as you can. But when you have banking factored in, that's not necessarily the case. It appears people are typically just throwing it in to the inside, letting the banking and the suspension being under load to push them and give them more traction, and then just cutting the wheel really hard, like 180 degrees, and then getting back on the throttle as early as you can. It just seems to be you're able to get a lot more traction than what you would normally think if you're not as experienced of a racer per se.
So you can get a best lap.
So no battles really at this moment, but everyone's just kind of maintaining their pace, and we're able to keep up with the top 5. But as you can see, coming into this lap, we're actually going to break our all-time lap record on this course, and we ultimately achieved our goal. We got under 1 minute 1 second, 1:09. So we're pretty ecstatic with that. And we had a pretty good turn 1 there. As you can see, we were figuring out the trail braking.
Lap under a minute.
And our delta is quite good right now. We're roughly a 10th different compared to our best lap, which we just had on the previous lap. Now, we had good momentum. Now we're up to 2/10. But unfortunately, what's going to happen here is very upsetting. Corey here, brother,
Are you?
I don't know what you were thinking there. Just trying to put your nose in very late into the corner like that, where there was no space. That was on you. You know, I don't think it was malicious per se, because you were racing pretty clean for most of the race, but yeah. Because of that, now we are very far away from the rest of the pack, and we're not in last place because there were people that had to retire, but yeah, our race is done for. So at this point, we're going to move ahead, and we eventually catch up to Corey and Ran, and we're looking to regain a P8 position. We are actually in P7 beforehand, but we're going to take the inside into turn 1 here. He gives us the space, and we're side by side. And as you can see, I don't think Corey is a dirty driver. He just made an honest mistake because he's given space. And he's going to back off here, and that's going to give us the opportunity to take the inside, slow down on the apex, and make it really difficult for him to gain speed. So now we're up into P9, and we just have to focus on Ran. Ran coming through the Dunlop arch, he loses the rears a little bit, so that's going to slow him down. And hopefully we're able to get him within slipstream range, which we are. And we come out of this hairpin, and we're going to be able to catch him pretty easily as we get the better exit. Now, I felt like the slipstream was a lot stronger than what I had originally anticipated. But what I came to find out was Rand had some severe front bumper damage and hood damage, and he was definitely getting a lot of aerodynamic drag on the car in the straight line, so that was a massive hindrance to his overall lap times and performance. So having known that knowledge, we were going to eventually capitalize on that opportunity. So all we had to do was maintain really good racing lines through the corners, and you know, if we're close to him in the straights, we will be able to defeat him. So as you can see, we got a yellow flag here. We're being cognizant of that, and someone had spun out coming into the second hairpin. Like I said, this BMW M2 is a wily car, and you can lose the rears really easily if you're not cautious. Throttle modulation is crucial. So we're not going to quite make a move on the inside, but we're just going to kind of pitch it in, see if he's driving in his mirrors, make him nervous, which he does. He goes wide, and he gets the better exit, but like I said, his aero damage is really hindering his straight line performance. So he has to back off, but then he comes into turn one, he gets on the inside of us. Good move on his part. His straight line speed, once again, is really slow, so we're just backing off the throttle. We don't want to ruin his race. He gives us some space on the inside, so we're going to take that, try to get a better exit, but he gets more speed. So we fall in behind him, so focus on the good exit through the Dunlop arch here. And we're going to fall right behind him and focus on just passing him on the straightaway, because once again, we have the better car because we don't have the damage. He loses the rears, we're in the slipstream, and a combination of those factors, we're going to be able to easily pass him. But it's not going to be without a challenge, because we're relatively side by side, and I try to hold it together. I went a little too wide than what I anticipated, but I'm able to hold it together and get a good amount of speed, and now we are able to get into P8 at this point. So there's 2 laps left of this race. All we got to do is keep it together, and at this point, I just wanted to utilize this as an opportunity to improve upon my lap times and get better than a minute 0.9. So our delta is looking pretty good. We are, you know, a 1/10 of a second improvement so far. So as long as we can string these last 2 corners together, we should be good to go. Now that's slowly reverting back, but we got to make sure we get a really good exit here. The delta drops down, but the line we took, we should be able to generate more speed on the straight here. So that's slowly being reeled back in. So now we're, you know, 200s, 500, 300s, 400s, 500s. And that's a pretty good line there. We're going to be able to get on the throttle early. And
Another lap record.
we shaved like a 1/10 off, but according to the laps, we did a minute 0.972, and our best was a minute 922. I don't know what's going on there with the delta bar, or what it's basing its data off of, but yeah, that was just weird. Maybe it's basing it off the last lap, I'm not quite sure. But I thought the data reference point was supposed to be off the best lap. And nonetheless, I think even though it's not a lap record, the best thing to focus on is, are your average lap times coming down? Are you more consistent in general? It's easy for anyone to go out there and do hot laps and post a fast lap, but it's really hard to be a machine and put in consistent lap times day in, day out. And once again, even though the delta got below, and I just wasn't sure because I was so focused in the race, but that lap time was technically a minute 1 second. So as you can see here, I'm finishing my rocket fuel, and we're going into the 3rd race, and I felt like I was getting into a better flow and a feel for the track and the car.
Waiting on the final cast grid.
This was my
Everyone's
moment.
gridded.
Now we had another freak in here, Golder. He was just an absolute monster. Another person who posted a lap time under a minute. So here we go. We got the green lights. We got a pretty strong field, and let's see what we can do. So I was really looking for another opportunity to make something happen here. Qualified P6, pretty strong. So everyone's just kind of taking it easy. Once again, everyone's got cold tires. We got to watch out for Thiago on our inside here on the left. He's going to be right on us. And we luckily have the better line coming through the Dunlop arches. And we're just going to fall right behind here. Slightly losing the rears, but no big deal. Just a slight correction. And it didn't really hinder our lap time and our speed. So we're going to be able to stay within the slipstream here on the back straight. So once again, the tires should be warmer, and probably not optimal temperatures, but you'll be able to push much more comfortably after the first lap is complete. Now, we're going to come into this first corner, and they're going to start going side by side here, and they're starting to get froggy with each other. So P3 and P4, they're bumping each other, and you can tell they got some beef. And you just know this isn't going to end well. So they're going to crash, so I'm just anticipating that. And they all end up going off the track off wide. So I take the inside.
What is up with
Thiago?
That? Oh my God.
Ruins my race. As you can see, the theme of this morning, luck was really not on my side. There's nothing I could have done at all. Thiago just drove through me like there was nothing. Brother, what are you doing? I don't know what you were thinking, what you were doing, but that was really frustrating. So now we're in an awful position. There was just nothing that really went on in this race as far as actions. So we move ahead. And the only person I really had to battle other than the first 1.5 laps is Alan. And Alan's not, he was like the one driver in here that didn't really have solid pace, so it was pretty easy to pass him, which we're gonna do here in 2 corners. Yeah, very unfortunate. It wasn't my morning, and luckily my safety rating, I made slight improvements, and we are really close to that C license, but ultimately my IRating is going to suffer. So we get the job done. We move up into P9, past Allen. He's just not making really good lines through any of these corners at all. And we're just going to move ahead to the end of the race. And ultimately, we just finished P9. Nothing special to this race at all. And we're going to go and take a look at this replay to see what the heck Thiago was doing. So, back in the replay, this is after turn 1, and this is where P3 and P4 are bumping each other. Hilarious when people's egos come into play. So they ruin each other's race. He was off track and just, yeah, he just decides to ram through me. While iRacing overall is still a much cleaner place to race, it's not without its faults, is what I'm finding. Yeah, that was such crap. I mean, come on. Look, if you give me a little bump or whatever, like I get it, brother. I get it. It's fine. But the fact that you just continue to drive through me was crazy. I mean, maybe you're just like a child or something, but that was malicious. Extremely malicious. Yeah, I don't know if I should report that gentleman. If you guys think so, let me know. But as you can see, our IRating tanked. We were at 1900 and it has dropped severely. So there you have it, folks. As you can see, IRating demolished, and luckily our safety rating was going up, so we were very close to a C license. I really want to get into the Porsche Cup so bad. There's something about a Porsche. It's intoxicating just hearing the engine and just driving it. It's a very special experience. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you do like it, once again, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for future content. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye.